Now, the Wisp has arrived, our new Ethereal Warframe who moves like the wind. But before I start this video, let me just quickly say this one thing. I know the Warframe community, I know you guys, I know how thirsty some of you fuckers are, and I know right well that some of you are already typing something about her assets in the comment section of this video. Call me Miss Dictator if you want, just behave, or you can go stand facing the corner and dream about something, I guess, like maybe Subverse. Just stop making it weird. Welcome on in. Like I said, this is Wisp, our newest Warframe added with the Jovian Concord update. She is a support Warframe with a mix of, I guess, some damage dealing abilities as well. Solgate mostly, or Cruel Sun, which is a much better name, although Solgate is nowhere near as powerful as Cruel Sun. I don't know who decided that. Now, Wisp is a pretty fun Warframe. I've been really enjoying using her. I didn't think I would, since support Warframes or control Warframes right now don't seem to have an exact place in the game. It seems to be that the desired frame is a damage dealer one, so mostly nuke or get the feck out. But with her 3 reservoirs boosting your health, your haste, and of course giving a constant stun with the electric zapping that gives her that extra bit of crowd control, as well as her blind, it's really nice having a Wisp in your squad. She feels pretty well balanced, with probably the exception of that Solgate ultimate, which first of all blocks a lot of your vision on the screen when you activate it. It needs to be a darker colour or you're going to risk losing your eyesight, and it deals somewhat moderate damage, not like a lot of other ultimate damage dealing abilities in the game. Now, Eximus units at the minute seem to almost nullify all of the damage from Solgate. I'm not sure if this is a bug or intended, and it might already be patched by the time I upload this video. Now, to get your hands on Wisp, you simply have to kill the new Flydelon that came with this update. It will drop her blueprint, her chassis blueprint or system blueprint, and of course the helmet blueprint as well. You will also need a total of 1200 hexanon, which is the new resource that you can get on the Gas City tileset. Try the survival if you want to get large amounts of this. You're also going to need Nightthane, which, well, Nightwave's over, so have fun getting any of those if you don't have any. Now, Wisp's abilities, we've kind of gone over these a few times in past videos from dev streams when we were showing them on those, but now we finally got a hands on ourselves, so let's quickly, I guess, go over what these abilities do. Wisp's passive will make her invisible to enemies when she is airborne, and it will keep her invisible for a short time once she lands. Now, in theory, I guess she could bunny hop through a mission and stay completely invisible. I guess, maybe, you could try it. Someone try it. Now, Wisp's first ability is her 3 reservoirs. The health reservoir, the haste one, and of course the shock one as well, which you can cycle between a lot like you can with Vauban and his grenades, if you're that one Vauban player who's still staying loyal to Vauban, or like Ivara's arrows, you simply have to tap to cycle through the reservoirs and then hold the ability down in order to place one. And you can have a total of 6 reservoirs down at any given time. Now, once you place one of these down, you can then pick the pod up that floats above the reservoir, which will give you a buff. Just simply walk over it or close to it and you get the buff. The same with your squad mates, but you can only have one of each of these buffs active at any given time. So you can have 1 haste, 1 vitality and 1 shock at the same time. So if you pick a buff from, say, a weaker Wisp, one that doesn't have as much power strength as you, then you're going to need to wait for this to wear off before you can pick your own up, which is a little bit annoying. Well, it's a huge bit annoying. You would think that your own reservoirs or your own buffs would overwrite those if you have a higher power strength, especially if you are relying heavily on the vitality reservoir, because it will give you more health, and of course it will regenerate more health per second depending on the power strength. This will allow you to drop vitality out of your build, like I said, if you need to. The haste one will increase your attack speed and of course your movement speed of your Warframe as well. Again, this scales with power strength. More power means more speed, and the shock one will deal a very small amount of shock damage, stunning the enemy for a few seconds. Range and power strength again boosts the effect of this reservoir. Now, it's actually a good bit of crowd control. The damage is absolute shite, sorry, but it is. But I know some players think that these buffs from the reservoir are a slightly better version of, I guess, what you would have with a fire, electric, or even a toxic chroma. Now, the thing about the haste reservoir is that It will make Wisp's ultimate, the Sol Gate, deal corrosive procs once you are affected by that haste buff, but it's not corrosive damage, just corrosive procs. But as I've said, the ultimate Sol Gate isn't a great damage dealing ability. Another great synergy with these reservoirs is that casting Wisp's Breach Surge while targeting one of the reservoirs will teleport Wisp to it. So it's a good way of moving around, or I guess getting out of trouble if you need to. Now Wisp's second ability is called Will-O-Wisp, which is basically her bamboozle. She will send out a spectral image of herself wherever she is aiming, and casting it again while the spectre is still out and travelling will make your Wisp teleport to that spectre. Another cool synergy with this is that if you cast her Breach Surge, which is her third ability, while that spectre is out, it will also cast a version of that Breach Surge as well for added crowd control, which is really fucking cool and really nice to use on large crowds as well. Now her Breach Surge ability will, I guess in simple terms, blind enemies around her once they are in line of sight for a set duration, while also debuffing enemies with unstable energy. Dealing damage to an affected enemy of this unstable energy has a chance to cause sparks to leave that target and seek out nearby enemies and deal a percentage of the damage from whatever you hit them with, whether it was a ability from your Warframe or whether it was weapon damage. So it will deal a percentage of that damage to enemies nearby with these sparks. The sparks are similar to Pax Seeker, if you know what that effect is from that arcane, but just not as strong. Which leaves us with her ultimate ability, which is called Sol Gate. This is where Wisp will open up a portal and call forth the power of the damn sun. It's an energy draining ability that will deal heat and radiation damage constantly as it hits enemies. Now, you can hold down your trigger to ramp up the damage and the energy drain, but against high level enemies or heavily armoured enemies, it's honestly just an okay ability. It's more, I guess, of a trash clearer than anything else. Having active reservoir buffs on your Warframe while using this ability will increase its damage, and like I said earlier, if you have the haste buff active, it will give you corrosive procs. For me, this is probably going to be my least used ability with Wisp. I don't really build or mod around this because it just doesn't feel worth it. Like I said, she is a buffing control based support Warframe more than anything else, but maybe unlike me, you like Sol Gate, you like the damage and you like the visuals as well, if you can see what the hell you're doing. I think they should probably tone down the visuals just a little bit because it does take up a lot of the screen when casting it. I have colour correction turned off, but I believe if you have colour correction turned on, then it's nearly impossible to see what the hell you're aiming at. Now, in terms of modding or building my Wisp, and what way I built around abilities, I've decided to focus on her buffs and that blind with a balance of stats, but more so on power strength, simply because it boosts those reservoir buffs, which gives you more health regen, more attack speed, and of course more movement speed as well. So with this build, I'm not using Vitality simply because her reservoir will give me an extra 672 bonus health on top of the base 300. So I've got nearly 1000 health once I've got that Vitality buff going, and it's active for about 46 seconds after I leave the area of that Vitality buff. Because once you're standing beside the reservoir, the buff won't wear off, but once you leave that circle, you will get the countdown timer on the duration, and I think mine is somewhere around 45-46 seconds. Now, it will also heal me for about 67 health a second. It will give me a 44% movement speed buff and nearly 70% bonus fire rate for my weapons. Not to mention, I have a 20 meter range on my shock mote for crowd control, as well as that 20 meter range on her Breach Surge as well. Sol Gate is still usable if you want to clear some trash, but I'm not going to use it. And of course, if you wanted to go down the road of using Umbral mods on your Wisp, then that is entirely up to you. Personally, I don't think she needs Vitality, but that's just me. Wisp is a pretty mobile Warframe, and if I'm being honest, after seeing her on the dev stream, the community was a little bit hesitant, to say the least, about her being a mobile Warframe, and her abilities looked much more static than anything else. But the movement speed and the teleporting with her abilities are really nice. Her buffs, however, I feel like are definitely her best asset. Now, let me know in the comment section below what you think of Wisp, whether you like her or not. If you have her built, that is on PC, whether you've found all of her parts and built her. Console should have this Jovian Concord update in a few weeks, all going well, with console cert, hopefully sooner rather than later, because it's nice having all, I guess, consoles and all communities on the same update. Now do me a huge favour and hit that like button if you enjoyed the video, or don't if you didn't. Subscribe for more Warframe, and as always, thanks very much for watching.